Hello everyone, it's Gigo here and welcome back to another episode of Building a House here in Ghana. If it's your first time here, this is the Pram Pram project where we are at the roofing stage. So in my previous episode, we completed the roofing woodwork and I said that we will be looking at the roofing sheet installation and the cost estimate. But before we do that, there's one important thing that we have to do, which is the coping, or what some people will say the parapet design, which you see up there. We have to do that before we do the installation of the roofing sheet, and I will explain the reason why that you have to do that first before doing the installation of the roofing sheet. So if you are ready for today's episode, kindly please do like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, so that you don't miss out on any episode of this building journey. Right, so as you can see on your screen, they are kind of cutting the frame, which they will be using to make the mold for the coping. So if this is the first time you are seeing this coping design on my channel, if you go to my the tema project, right, if you go to the tema project, we did the same thing where I did the step by step how they mold this thing step by step. I don't want to be repeating all these things on the channel, so I'm going to put a link of that video in the comment section. You can go there, you click on that video, and then you see how this mold was made, how we did it, just in case you have someone doing it for you. You have to know how, at least you need to get an idea of how it is done, so that when the person is doing something different, you can ask questions, and maybe the person has a different way of doing it. We are all here to learn, so you don't take what we do as the standard, right? If you see that someone is doing it differently, you can show our video to the person and just ask the questions and just make the judgment for yourself, right? We all learn, so that if you get this knowledge, you can pass it on to your friend, so that when your friend is also building a house, you have seen the two types, so you'll be able to educate your friend to do the best thing, right? So that video is in the comment section if you want to know how this thing was formed, right? I don't want to make my videos too long, so I'll skip that process here, right? So this is the result of the coping that we did here, right? So we have different types of the shapes. You can do the smaller ones, which we did with the Ibri project. If you check the Ibri amount from project, we did the same thing there, but we did a smaller size. So it comes in different size and shapes. Those that lives in Europe, I think we will be familiar with these types of coping or parapet, where most of the houses in Europe has this design. So fast forward, you can see when everything is dry, the guys have to wait for a week, right? And then they have to cut it depending on the shape of the house. We will be looking at the cost estimate, so it will be coming here later. In a few minutes I'll put out the cost estimate, but before that, I just want to let you know the reason why we have to do this coping before we do the roofing sheet, right? So this coping, it is heavy, right? So we have iron rods in there, right? We have, I think, the 10 mm iron rods in there, so it is quite heavy. So if you do your roofing sheet, right, if you do your roofing sheet before you want to install your coping, you see here we have easy access to pass the mold to the guys up there to do the installation. So just imagine you do your roofing before you want to do the parapet, meaning you have to rent scaffolds, right? You have to rent scaffold, and this is the third level. So just imagine the number of rooms that you have to rent, and this takes like a week to get all of them installed. Because this is not just the way, it is not just putting it there and then it is done. No, there are so many things you have to do to kind of make it hold, make it strong, to last longer, which most people don't do. But I'll put it here in the video for you to see how it is done, right? Coping is not cheap, trust me. to do this kind of design for your house, it is not cheap, but it makes it look nice. As you can see, it makes, it gives a different shape to the project. So as I was saying, if you do your roofing sheet before you want to do your coping, you have to rent scaffolds, and you see the level that costs money. So doing it this way saves you a lot of money on scaffold, right? So this is the first tip. If you want to do your coping, make sure that you do your coping before you do your installation of the roofing sheet. And you also have to do your woodwork, right? The woodwork, so that the guys have something to stand on to work. Like the guys are using the woodwork that FO did. That's where they are standing to do the installation of this coping, right? So I just want to share that. So that was tip one for you. When it comes to the tip two, we have two types of this coping and parapet. I think one is the coping and one is the parapet. I really don't know the difference between these two, but there's one that it will be mowed on top of, like the way you see it. This one we mowed it on the ground and then we have to put it up there. But there's one that I have been sharing on my channel by Abraham, that he will do it. He will create the mold. He will use mortar to just create that design for you, right? So that one is a little bit cheaper than this one. This one is expensive, but this is because, you have a professional doing this, right? The person doing this is a very professional, but some masons will tell you, I can do it, right? Some people will tell you, I can do it, and then they will do the copy and paste. They will just mold it on the ground, like as you see it like this, and they will just put it there without doing, there are things that you have to do to protect this thing, right? So that it stays longer, which you will be seeing that in the video, right? But most masons will tell you, oh, I can do this for you. This is not a mason work. If a mason tells you he can do this, this is not a mason work. Both the parapet and the coping is not a mason work. You need someone who is specialized in doing this thing. Both the one that you mold on the ground and the one you mold on the wall, which is the one that Abraham does. It is not a mason's job. So please be careful. If you say you want to do this, you discuss it with your mason, and your mason said, I can do it. Trust me, this is how when they do it in few months' time, it drops, it falls, and then people will say this is not a good one. But I will show you the reason why I am, stressing on this one. So just pay attention to the difference, right? If you want more details, you get in touch with me. I can give you both Abraham and then the guy who fixed this, so that you can check, right? You have talks with them, and then the one which is best for you. One, like I said, this one is more expensive, but I would say this one is more bold, right? This, you can see the difference. If you go to my playlist, if you go to the windows and door design, right, from Abraham, you see the difference, right? So I just want to share that so that you pay attention to the design, right? So this is the second tip that I would like to share when it comes to coping and roofing. So let's look at the cost estimate for this particular coping or the parapet that we did. So we used 35 bags of cement, 15 lengths of that's a 3 by 8 iron rods, and we use 15 packs of the concrete nails and 20 coils of steel binding wire, 3 packs of normal nail and river sand, and also we have a smooth sand. So that is the cost of the iron rods. With the bag of cement, it depends on which brand that you are using and the cost, so we didn't put that. And also the workmanship was 10,000 Ghana cedis. I believe you can negotiate with them. So this is just to give you an idea how much it costs for this particular work you see here. But one thing that you have to pay attention is mine will cost more because I have two type of roof, right? So at the back I have let me put it this way, I have two backs, right? So I have two levels, right? So the second floor and then the third floor, I have to do two of the back. So if you just have just one level, right, you are doing for the whole building, then you eliminate one back, right? So that means that the materials will reduce and the labor will also reduce if you are doing just four, because mine is two levels. That's why mine is a little bit more. So this is the cost estimate for doing this particular parapet. So then this brings us to the third point for the parapet and coping design installation. So after doing the first installation, you can see that we use the wire binding to bind the mold to the building. That is the block work, which you see there. I don't think that most people normally do this, or they don't put enough iron rod, enough binding wire to hold it. That's why sometimes it falls off, right? So that is one. I mean, you can imagine having someone doing a shoddy job for you, not putting all the materials that they put in there. That also ends up having breakages and this mode, because this mode is heavy, right? And another thing that comes with the cost, right, is after they've done their work, you have to use mortar to fill in the gap between the block work and then this mode. And when that is done, we have to do, I would say, like a screening, right? You have to get the level, because the main reason of doing this, one is for beautification. That is the most reason why we do this thing, beautification. And the second one is that for the slope, when it rains, it doesn't, when the water falls on top of the blocks, it doesn't fall in front of the house. Like, it doesn't, you don't see drips. Sometimes, like most buildings that doesn't have the coping or the parapet, you see some stain of water drops. When you look at the upper level of the house, you see some stains of water drop. This prevents that, because we're going to make like a plastering, right? Or let me say like a screening, slope it to the back wall. So when it rain, the water, falls, any water that falls on top of this slopes to the back. You will be seeing that in my next episode when we start with the plastering, which is already done as we are talking now. So you will be seeing that in the next episode. That's why you have to subscribe to the channel, so that you learn all of these things. At least you get an idea how it is done, so that when you have your workers and they are doing it for you and they are doing something different, you know the right questions to ask, right? So this is the second level, and you can see the view from here. Very beautiful job done by the team. If you like what you see and you also want some for your project, if you send me an email or a WhatsApp, I will forward their number to you so that you deal with them directly. At least you've seen what they've done here, so you know the questions to ask. And so, since our parapets or coping is done, we can go ahead and do the installation of the roofing sheet, which you can see right here. So in our next episode, we will look at it and also the cost estimate. And this was possible because we have a great team, right? We work with other companies. That's why it's a production group. If you work with us, we take that stress of dealing with artisans and all that, right? So that's why this channel is created, to give you the feel and give you the opportunity of like dealing with the workers yourself. At the same time, you are not putting so much pressure on organizing for things to happen. We make that happen, and we give you that full control over building, because my motive is that you build your own house, right? I want you to be part of the whole process of building your own house, not just giving contract to people and you cannot make any decisions. They just do what they want because they are professionals. Like, I mean, we give you the chance to have a say in your own project. That's what the production group is all about. So thanks for staying with me. I really do appreciate your time spent here on the channel. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and I will see you in my next episode. Leke. do it.